All right, today we're jumping into a huge topic, climate change. But we're not going to get bogged down in abstract charts or predictions for 2100. Nope. We're going to look at the chain of events that are already happening, a future that sounds kind of like a sci-fi movie, but one that the source material says we can still steer away from. Okay? Let's get into it.
So, the first thing you have to get your head around is that climate change doesn't hit everyone the same way, not even close. For a lot of us, maybe it feels like an inconvenience, right? Storms are getting a bit crazier, wildfire season starts sooner, but for millions, literally millions of people living near the equator, places like India, Bangladesh, the Middle East, it's a whole different story. It's not an inconvenience, it's becoming an actual death sentence.
So what's the science behind a death sentence? It all comes down to this concept, wet bulb temperature. Look, this isn't just about feeling hot. This is the literal breaking point where the air is so full of water that your sweat can't evaporate. And since sweating is our body's only real way to cool down, the whole system just fails. You literally overheat from the inside out. It's a hard biological line, and huge parts of the planet are creeping right up to it.
And when entire countries become physically unsurvivable for stretches of the year, what do you think happens? People leave. They have to. I mean, this isn't a political choice, it's a matter of pure survival. We are talking about a potential wave of climate refugees on a scale we have never seen before, all because their homes have become fundamentally unlivable.
Okay, but hold on. You hear this argument all the time, right? The planet's been way warmer before. It was fine. And it's true. Earth has been hotter in its deep, deep past. So why is a little warming now such a catastrophe for us?
Well, this is where that comparison just completely falls apart. Because that ancient, warmer Earth was a totally different planet. I mean, look at this. Sea levels were 240 feet higher. There were no ice caps at all. And here's the kicker. The dominant life on Earth? Cold-blooded reptiles. They loved it. So yeah, the planet survived, but it was a planet that was fundamentally hostile to warm-blooded mammals like us. Our entire civilization, our entire species couldn't have existed back then. It was a world built for dinosaurs, not for people. So that was the past. But let's fast forward to right now, because another massive domino is starting to wobble. And this time, we're looking at the Arctic. A few years back, scientists saw something called a blue ocean event. That's when, for a moment, the Arctic was almost completely free of summer ice, an absolutely terrifying milestone. And you know what? Crickets. The source says the news barely even mentioned it. Why is that so terrifying? Well, think of the Arctic ice as the planet's giant reflective heat shield. All that white reflects sunlight back into space, keeping us cool. But as it melts, it exposes the dark ocean underneath. And just like wearing a black shirt on a sunny day, that dark water soaks up a massive amount of heat. That heat melts more ice, which exposes more dark water, and you can see where this is going. It's a vicious cycle.
And here is the absolutely wild number that explains why this is so critical. Get this. It takes 80 times more heat energy to melt a block of ice than it takes to raise the temperature of that same amount of water by 1 degree. So right now, all that ice is absorbing a colossal amount of energy without the temperature shooting up. It's like a planetary buffer.
So what happens when that buffer is gone, when there's no more ice to melt? All that energy that was busy melting ice suddenly starts heating the water and the air instead. And the result isn't a slow, gentle warming, it's a rapid, dramatic spike in global temperatures. A real shock to the system. And this isn't just about polar bears or far-off physics. These things have very real, very personal consequences. This isn't some computer model, it's the actual world that we're creating, the world we are leaving behind.
It's the smell of mildew in a house that will never, ever be fully dry again after another historic flood. It's a lifetime of photos and memories ruined.
It's the shock of seeing a forest you've known your whole life, a place you hiked and played, turned into a black and barren moonscape by a wildfire that burned hotter and faster than anyone thought possible.
And it's the really dark irony of a family home that was once miles from the coast suddenly becoming an oceanfront property, not by choice, but because the ocean decided to move in. The source material doesn't really pull any punches. It uses this phrase directly, be very afraid. It's a pretty stark warning about the road we're on. After hearing all this, the physics, the feedback loops, the consequences, it's easy to feel, well, pretty hopeless, like all the dominoes are already falling. It makes you wonder, what's the last one? Is it the ice caps? Is it our food supply? But maybe the final domino isn't a physical thing at all. the source suggests the story isn't written yet. Because maybe the final domino is us, our choices. The physics might be set in stone, but our actions aren't. And as the source says, we can still turn this boat around. Which leaves us with the biggest question there is: will we?